Are we talking some hump day sizzle here?
Oh my God.
Already Wednesday? Outnumbered overtime? Oh, gee.
I've started saying that in my just personal life, hump day sizzle. And my friend was like, where'd you come up with that? I was like, Harris says it all the time. And it's really catchy. And I like that it makes Wednesday
And
more
you know what?
exciting.
As summer wanes, it's a great day to grill.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's so true.
Hump
Every
day
day is a
sizzle to your
great day to
ribs.
grill. So my husband's a little, I don't know. He loves fire. And so he'll grill when it's, everybody else is out in their snowsuits, and he'll brush off the snow and dig out the grill. And
it is kind of a man thing.
it is a man thing.
But
Such a man thing.
I like fire in the house called oven.
Yeah,
The hearth, as it were.
and men are
You
also
sound like
kind
Hillary
of
Clinton. She's very tropical now. Have you been listening? Go ahead.
Yeah. But men are also kind of dumb. And I think
That's not
I
true. You
didn't
don't
wanna
have to
say
demean.
that.
You don't
I didn't
have to
wanna say
demean.
that.
It's providing.
true.
It's sizzling the meat to provide for the family, Charles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of dumbness is involved. You have gunpowder, you have,
You guys are fascinated by it. Things that go boom. Speaking of which, Fandomly28 writes on our live chat, gas prices are low and the Dow is booming. Thanks, President Obama. So is this a difficult time for Donald Trump to sell the economy? Lisa?
I don't think so. I mean, you look at President Obama is literally going to go down as one of the worst, or I think the worst president in terms of economic growth. Also, in real world effects that everyday Americans feel, they haven't seen a pay increase throughout throughout his presidency. The middle class is in the decline. It's hard to find jobs. You look at things like Obamacare, which is essentially force employers to reduce hours, right? So if you used to be a full-time employee and your employer now cut you down or cut your hours down so you're no longer a full-time employee, so they don't have to provide health care, obviously that's going to affect you personally. So I think there's a lot of other indicators of things that people are feeling on a personal level that could negatively hurt Hillary Clinton on the economic front.
I think you don't even have to analyze it with any sort of business acumen or economic acumen. I think you can say to yourself, am I better off than I was 8 years ago? And some people might say, 2008 was really rough. I'm a little bit better. 4 years ago? No, you're absolutely right about stagnation and economic growth and the inability to start businesses and get loans. It's still a tough landscape out there. And although gas prices may be low right now, that's certainly not the only indicator for people. Maybe people can drive a little bit farther than they could a few months ago, but can they save to go on a family vacation? Can they save to send their kids to college? Yeah.
Well, and you heard Donald Trump today. I mean, he was supposed to be focusing in Pennsylvania and did for most of his speech that led into us about U.S. military, but he left it on urban cities and the blight there and what he wants to change about that, and speaking directly to that demographic. CPOM says, is lying to Congress a crime? Charlie Hurt?
Yes. Of course it is. You can, I mean,
and I'm going to assume that has to do with what?
Congress has, subpoena powers. Can put, and if they can detain you and make you give testimony. But that whole thing, her argument that no, I was truthful because the FBI I didn't get indicted. I mean, that was the harshest non-indictment that we've ever seen written about, delivered about anybody, especially about a politician who's running for president at the time.
Can I just say something about that? Because I think you're absolutely right. And I think what Comey was trying to do was inflict as much damage to her reputation as possible. Because he's had a long-standing beef with the Clintons, and he has had an axe to grind for decades now. And I think he was very purposeful in that. And I have heard, and I don't know how substantial this is, but I've heard that he is so opposed to the idea of a Donald Trump presidency that he felt he couldn't in good conscience indict her, knowing that he would be handing the presidency.
I also wondered too if the FBI didn't single-handedly want to be responsible with shaping the presidential election, because essentially if Hillary Clinton was indicted, or at least there was a recommendation of indictment, that would change the landscape of the election to such a degree where, essentially handling it over potentially to Donald Trump. So did the FBI want to be that decision maker?
Maybe the man who's saying that she needs to soften her frozen heart kind of thought that he would be the person to step up, Joe Biden.
Yeah. But I also think that the FBI's, Jim Comey's reluctance to want to be the person that flicks that switch and takes her out of the running and either hands the presidency to Donald Trump or whatever they would have done, the Democrats would have done. I think that's a healthy thing. I mean, I think she clearly should have been indicted.
Yeah.
But I have to say that I am glad. I think I'm glad that we have an FBI director who is concerned about that and doesn't want to in too many cases.
I don't know. I disagree. I think that there is the rule of law. I think we should all be equal in the eyes of the law. And I was talking to a friend of mine whose husband is in the Navy, and she said that if her husband had committed the same acts, that he not only would have been indicted, but he would have been sent to prison. Why is there that double standard? And there shouldn't be. And that's what makes it so unsatisfying.
That's the worst part of it. But I do think that there's a lot of reason not to have faith in the American voter. But I think it's always good when American voters get to make the decision. And if she had been indicted, they wouldn't have gotten to make that decision.
So Kelly Moore disagrees. She says Lisa Comey did shape it by not indicting Clinton.
Well, but yes, but I think that the FBI did not want to be the one to recommend that indictment and sort of single-handedly shaping the election.
The way the Supreme Court did in 2000?
I don't think that they will get credit for having done it well either way.
Well, my concern is Comey had mentioned precedent, but now the lack of precedent in recommending an indictment against Hillary Clinton, but now he is setting precedent by not recommending an indictment. And my question is, what does that mean for future handling of classified information? I mean, the reality is this is a woman who said
Chelsea Clinton can do whatever the hell she wants.
But there's also...
She's never going to go to jail. I'm sorry. I mean, you guys are making this real complicated. And you know what? You know how I like to talk to my friends and family that watch from Arizona. It's real simple. She broke the law. Her last name's Clinton. She was the nominee for the party. He covered for her, and now we have to deal with all this, and she'll probably do it again, and so much worse if she becomes
president. I think he wasn't just covering for her. Simple. I think he was covering for Loretta Lynch.
Yeah, I agree.
So Loretta Lynch didn't have to be the bearer of bad tidings.
By the way? She's still
on that tarmac.
Waiting
for Sky Harbor Airport.
She's like in the secret witness protection program for...
We talked about golf for a half hour.
And they were like, my favorite thing about that is it was the summer in Phoenix, which for someone who was born and raised in Phoenix, like 125 degrees, my flip-flops used to melt. They were like, we're just hanging out in the tarmac. And I was like, it's like Hades in Phoenix right now. They're so full of it.
Also, and Hillary Clinton at the same time had floated the idea that she would keep Loretta Lynch as Attorney General if she was the president as well. So it's like, people are not that dumb. I mean, Megan's right. Like, it really is that simple. And the fact that she's saying in public, I understand classified information, and then to the FBI, oh, I thought the little C was alphabetical.
I thought it was Chanel.
Is that not?
And I thought this is so great because I'm dead broke and I can't afford Chanel.
With her $13,000.
But really,
I'm having a good time just reading Facebook Live right now. I'm like, all into it.
No, it's so fascinating. If your last name is Clinton, you can do it. Like, Chelsea Clinton could probably murder someone in the street, and as long as they were classified
Well, we haven't seen Brian Pagliano, as Donald Trump pointed out.
Maybe she thought the C was just a monogram for Clinton.
I just, but it's
I was looking for the A and the B.
It's
and
unbelievable.
Then the D and the E, and I didn't see them.
But they live by a completely different standard than any other American does. They get away with it. They've gotten away with it forever, and it looks like she'll continue to get away with it.
She's a tyrant, and this was appeasement, and I'm still offended.
So Chris Morris asks, why did Cheryl Mills get to act as Hillary Clinton's attorney and her co-conspirator? I've seen
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
These questions
but I want to know
really
too.
good.
I mean, you've got aides, advisors, people who were so close to her, and these people are being focused on right now. And I'm wondering, what's the TikTok on one of them? Maybe
Huma.
And what? And
she's got personal issues now, so maybe they're giving her a pass. I don't know.
Yeah.
And if she was relying on all these people, as she has said, to make all these decisions for, and she's such a great leader, why hadn't anybody been fired?
Yeah.
I mean, if I had all these people
What
doing
a
this
question.
stuff for me, I
even a low-level person. So,
Yeah.
and by the way, I mean, you can look at Bridgegate, you can look at the server scandal, which is a much larger scandal. Low-level people don't just they don't just inflict their whims on others when they can do so much damage to their bosses. Life doesn't happen that way, and certainly political life doesn't happen that way.
Real quickly, AP88, why was Chelsea Clinton getting so many of these emails? Why was she so important?
I know, and she got the Benghazi email too, which was one of the smoking guns, because Hillary emailed her and said there was a terrorist attack, which, again, I love my father dearly. He ain't emailing me about international things and classified information. I mean, at all. And I always thought their relationship has been bizarre in that way, too. Why is she involved? She doesn't have a security clearance.
We want to thank all the people on Facebook Live. Rockin' and our page on foxnews.com. Thanks for watching. I think you've got your next topic. I think it's going to be something about email.
Yes.
All right. We'll see you
No
tomorrow.
doubt.